This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman. I am here to address all of your complaints and concerns. If you need assistance regarding city services, please contact my office at 313-224-6000 or contact us via email at ombudsman@detroitmi.gov. This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman.
Hi, this is LaWanda.
This is R.J. Watkins.
Coming to you to bring you some information about the #1 detox in the nation, Lemon Burn. Lemon Burn helps to turn the fat into fit. It's for you, a happier, healthier you. Because you know healthy is the new beautiful. An all-natural way to improve your health. It promotes a healthy digestive system, attacks and reduces belly fat, as well as gives you energy. Need to get yours today. Call 313-868-6612.
Don't forget to exercise and eat right.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton.
And I am Thabiti Mpinda.
Inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback,
A positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback.
Invictus. Out of the night that covers me, black is the pit from pole to pole. I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. William E. Henley, Invictus.
Wow. We wanted to start with that this morning because of the passing of Congressman John Lewis. And it has been said that Invictus was his favorite poem. You know, we have had so many ancestors who stood tall, who stood strong, who worked for the betterment of the whole African American community. That's not to say that they hated anyone, but they just wanted the best for all of us. And so did John Lewis. Good morning. Thank you so much for tuning in to Feedback, a positive image production by Hood Research. My name is Theo Broughton, co-founder of Hood Research, and my co-host,
Thabiti, and we welcome you to the program.
and we want to say good morning to so many of you. You know, I want to say good morning to Kirk. Kirk tunes in and he supports and calls in, and that's really wonderful. We appreciate that. I want to say good morning to Rosa and to Barbara, who's on the men, and to Ron and Vera, and to Jay, who's way on the east side, and to Les, who's way on the west side. We got to say good morning to Michael, and to Katrina and Rochelle, to Carl, and to Don and Henry. And you know, we got to say good morning to Al and so many of you who support Hood Research, and also the meetings that we have every Saturday at 2 p.m. By way of Ma Bell. And who do you want to say good morning to?
I'll say a good morning, buenos dias, to Sister Cheryl D., Brother Fred, Brother Shane, both sisters Jackie, to the crew over at Fago Pop Company who are listening to us, and that starts with Brother Al Taylor over there. Found out that they were some of our Well, when you're on the clock, you can't really call in, but we know that they tune in, so that's a beautiful thing as well. Brother Eugene, who is a frequent, he's a new viewer, I should say, and as I always ask all of you, have your friends, family, neighbors, co-workers, acquaintances, anybody in your circle to tune in, and to also have pen and paper handy for valuable information you want to record.
Absolutely.
And I just say this quickly, Theo, excuse me, that for the for those of you who have pen and paper handy, the call-in numbers are down there on the screen now, so make sure you put them in because the call-in display will be on and off during the course of the program.
Mm-hmm. And also we have Michael who calls in from Connecticut, and we have Mike who calls in from New Jersey. And last Monday, we had Bob Law on with us from New York. And just, we have so many excellent things that go on with Hood Research. And I want you to know, I'm hoping that you're getting your pen and paper handy, because every Saturday, we do have a meeting that starts at 2 o'clock. And it's by telephone. You don't have to leave the comfort of your easy chair or your bed or your kitchen table chair, the comfort of your home. You can just pick up the phone and call in and listen, share information that you have gleaned. And we do have guests who call in as well. This past Saturday, we had a gentleman, an attorney, sales, from Atlanta, Georgia, and he's an expert in election law. And that was very interesting. Now, the number to call to participate with us is 1978. That's the area code. Then 990-5000 is telephone number. 990-5000. And when it answers, you then put in the access code. The access code is 338729. Again, that's 338729. Then you press, that little tic-tac-toe sign. People call it the pound sign. Some people call it hashtag. It gets all kinds of names. But anyway, you press that. Then you will hear us talking. That's on Saturdays at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. And we're on till about 6. We have guests that come on. We have callers that come on. We have questions that are asked of the guests. We have candidates who call in and they want to share their platform. Then you have an opportunity to ask your own questions. It's not anything that is set up. They call in, they talk, you ask your questions, they respond. That's how that works. And each Saturday, it's a good opportunity because of this pandemic that is going on around the world. People are not able to socialize to the same degree as they've been able to socialize in the past, nor in the same ways that they've been able to socialize in the past. We have a new a thing to be the birthdays that people have, and they get in their cars and they drive by the location, being a home or restaurant or what have you, and they toot the horn. And this is to acknowledge the person who's having the birthday. And speaking of birthdays, tomorrow, on Election Day, August the 4th, is the birthday of former President Barack Obama. Tomorrow is the birthday of former President Barack Obama. And it's interesting that it happened that Election Day falls on his birthday. But that's tomorrow, all day, so you need to know about that. But the new practice of driving by, not just for birthdays, but anniversaries and graduations. And there was something really nice that took place in California. Don't know if it took place in other states or cities in other states. But there was one school that used a drive-in theater. And by the way, here we only have a one in the state of Michigan left. There's another entrepreneur who wants to open a second drive-in theater because of the pandemic that we're going through, which would give you a lot of your distancing that you would need. But anyway, there's one school in California used a drive-in theater, and the attendees supporting the graduates came to the theater, and the school had a stage set up in front of the screen. And when it was time for the student to receive his or her diploma, a picture of that student was put up on the screen. And then they walked up on the stage and got their diploma and went off on the other side and back to their vehicle. And that was the way that school chose to host its graduation. And it turned out very, very successfully. And of course, after which the cars were tooting their horns and going out, and they had a caravan after they left the drive-in theater. But it was a unique way to celebrate the graduation of those students. And it's just something that may catch on in other cities as time goes on, since we do not know how long we have to suffer through this particular pandemic that's taking on now. And you know, the BD people need to know not just that you wear your mask to keep from catching the virus or to keep from spreading the virus, but they need to know about the side effects. And I tend to think that if more people know about the side effects, they may think, well, maybe I need to wear this mask. Maybe I need to stay 6 feet away. Maybe I need to stay home and have my groceries delivered or my other necessities delivered. Maybe I need to drive by to the curb of a restaurant and get a carry-out. Maybe I need to act like I have some sense, you know?
Everybody ain't got sense. And they won't.
That's so sad to know. And because there have been more liberties in the United States than other countries, I guess they think that, this is no big deal. We have the flu every year, but this is not the flu. The side effects, they're even revealing now that after a person, should they successfully get over this virus, it could have affected the internal organs, their heart, their livers, their kidneys, pancreas, etc. And also, it causes some to develop blood clots, creates embolisms, and that stops your heart from pumping, which in turn stops you from breathing. In other words, it can kill you.
Well, you know, I agree that those who are wise and have common sense will do that. However, we also know that drinking, alcoholism, cirrhosis of the liver has not stopped people from drinking, nor have people stopped, although it's slowed down, but they still continue to smoke cigarettes, something of that sort. So there's never going to be 100% compliance. All we can hope is that those who have or use sound judgment, some people feel their rights are more important than, and liberties, as you say, which we receive in this country, they consider those things more important than it being
Living.
restricted.
More important than living.
And they're going to do it too.
Yeah.
We've seen the protests in Lansing and all over the country. So all we can do is try to avoid people who don't use good judgment, because everybody's not going to do it. Everybody's not going to stop at the red light. So there will be no utopia on this planet. We can forget that. But the only thing we can do is appeal to those, and even some who have caught the disease. I've seen a few politicians in different states, particularly some Republican politicians, be they senators or representatives, who dismissed the idea of the pandemic as a hoax, and then they come around to find that they are COVID positive. So again, we know that there will never be a unified thought on anything. We can only hope to avoid those who use bad judgment.
Oh, yeah. And that is so sad. And I would think that as people begin to hear about the side effects of this disease, this virus, it just reminds me of, as I've said before, of the green fog that was slithering through the towns in the Ten Commandments, so silent. And it came here, and it's been slithering through the communities here in the United States. And it seems that the best way to avoid it is to practice what's being recommended. But sadly, there were too many of the Republicans who were believing the president when he said it was a hoax, and it's crazy. It just goes from bad to worse, because then he started touting that hydroxychloroquine was something that was the best that you could use. That medicine works. Doctors have even said that even though it was a medication that was used for people who had malaria, it really didn't work that well for them. So, and it does not work for this virus.
And many of you who are researchers know that it's been purported, and I believe it's accurate as well, that the Trump family had investment in the stock of hydroxychloroquine, which is why it was touted so much by the president. Not that he cared one way or another. He was looking at his stock portfolio and thought about, here's another way I can add some more zeros to my account. So, and I mean, I understand that too. If you've got an investment, you could care less about the damaging effects. The whole thing is bottom line. That's with most companies. Maybe we have a toxic environment at Amazon where there's something in the air, but we're making a lot of money, so we're just going to have to deal with that. So capitalism has no heart when it comes to the employees or the consumers, for that fact.
Wow. Well, the president's niece, Mary Trump, has been interviewed several times, and as a practicing psychologist, she has analyzed her uncle, the president, and has stated that he has a sociopathic personality. And sometimes I wonder if it's not psychopathic. But anyway, as someone who admired Hitler and has copied some of the practices of Hitler, it appears that perhaps the president enjoys hearing about the numbers of people who are dying, and people are dying daily, and maybe he gets some kind of kick off of hearing that, just as in Germany they seem to have gotten a kick out of killing people in the showers, making them believe, oh, well, you're going through this because you're going to be clean, and we're going to have some, I don't know, some kind of job or exercise for you to do. And they went in there willingly, believing that that was what was being presented and what was going to be carried out, when in fact that was not the case. So in this instance, with the Corona-19, I guess they're calling it, because it started in 2019, the kind of actions just make me think that that's what could be going on in his mind.
Well, I will say this. One of the things when you mention Hitler, for those who really have done any real delving into the mind of Trump, and I have looked at a lot of his upbringing and the contacts he's had, he has an affinity towards autocratic rulers, which is why he and Putin, Kim Jong-un, and the other one's escaping me now, but he has an affinity towards dictatorial type of, and I should say Xi Jinping, who is the head of China. He loves that type of rule where maybe there's no political party, but these people have an iron fist when it comes to controlling their people. So, which is why he's never really come out against them. He's kind of kissed their backsides more or less, so Putin gets away with what he wanted to. Kim Jong-un is still doing what he wants to, although he's a little bit more quiet now. And it's just something that he, in his mind, believes that he should be able to do as president, because he doesn't understand the Constitution. That's why he says all the outrageous things he says, because he doesn't understand the Constitution. I'm sure that his dictionary is limited to that of a 5th or 6th grader at best. Are you smarter than a 5th grader? Well, in his case, probably not.
Yeah, those are good points that you bring up, and maybe he was wielding his power when he sent, and we believe that it's a Blackwater. Of course, Blackwater has a new name now, for those who know, and they happen to be a group of mercenaries that were established by Betsy DeVos' brother. And so I'm thinking that with the kind of power the president has, he wanted to send some money that way. So hire Blackwater, and they go in banging heads and throwing people in unmarked vans, having no identification, and just wreaking havoc in Portland, Oregon. And now we're hearing that he wants to bring them east, and Chicago, Detroit, and who knows what other cities. And so the question becomes, is this being done in addition to wanting to send some money that way to Betsy DeVos' brother? She, by the way, for anybody who's not clear, is the head of the Department of Education. Anyway, to throw his power around, and just was scrounging around trying to figure out what he could do that did not have to be sanctioned or approved by the Senate and the House.
Well, we know from the 2016, starting in 2015, the presidential run for the Republican National Convention, his tactics have always been bully tactics. So he's just showing that a little bit more now because he has the authority to do it. And some things he's not sure he has the authority to do, but he's willing to throw it out there. And if someone disagrees, he'll quickly say, "I was kidding. This was said in jest." But it's always a feeler. It's sort of like when a guy's talking to a woman, he'll say certain things just to kind of get a feel for, and women to men as well, but sometimes people throw feelers out there, and then if it gets a reaction they didn't expect, "Oh, I was just kidding with you. You didn't take me serious, did you?" So this is the way 45 operates. He operates on, well, let me throw it out there, And then with this postponing the election, and even Mitch McConnell, the Senate majority, said, "No, we ain't postponing nothing." But he expected some of these people, Lindsey Graham, Joe Kennedy in Texas, to support him. Like, no, bro, you can't go that far with it.
Right.
But he was testing the waters. I guess that's the best way to put it, testing the waters.
And now, why do you think he has not responded to the murders that are going on in Afghanistan of our military?
He again, if there's no personal gain or self-interest, he has no interest at all, even though these are U.S. military people, and he should be quick to defend them, which is why he won't go against Putin, because he likes Putin. He likes that autocratic rule, that dictatorial type of rule. So he's not going to say nothing against it. He even said in an interview when the reporter asked him about a conversation he had with Putin within the last week to 10 days, I'm sure. And the reporter asked him, well, did you bring up Afghanistan? And Trump said, no, I didn't see any reason to bring it up.
Oh.
Yes, so he's very bold.
Oh, so that gives more credence to me thinking that he likes to hear about death, people dying. While he's in charge, the more people that die, the better. We hear that more people have died now than died in Vietnam. It's like I can kill more than Hitler did in Germany, during the Holocaust. So it makes you wonder, because how can you ignore your soldiers being murdered?
He's not a patriot at all, so it matters not. He's a businessman. A businessman don't care about employees. All a businessman cares about is bottom line. So we're looking for a heart and a soul in a person who has neither.
Woo, that is chilling. But now, you would think maybe if he were to respond in a supportive way, that it might endear some voters to him. They said, well, maybe I should vote. Look, it was my cousin that got murdered over there, and he did take action against them, so maybe I should vote for him. No.
He doesn't even have a close relationship other than Ivanka and maybe Donald Jr. He doesn't have a close relationship with his children. He is very much about himself only. Melania is just stuck there because, she just got stuck in a situation. I'm sure she didn't want to be first lady, and I know she's feeling a little heat, and she's even said a few things in the past that were contrary to what Trump says, but I'm sure he shut that down real quick, because she has to realize that, look, you're making me look bad, Melania. You just have to kind of stand back in the shadows, smile, wave, and that's all I need from you.
Yeah, he does have a strange way of acting. And they say that all politics are local, and there are some things going on around here. The governor is slowly allowing various businesses to open, and the casinos are 3 of the businesses. Is it Wednesday?
Wednesday for 2 and Friday for 1.
Okay. So there will be some normalcy, I guess, for those who frequent the casinos. And she's trying to be cautious about how she goes about this, and that's a good thing. And then in the meantime, we have an election that is taking place tomorrow. And for those who want to vote and are not registered yet, today you can take care of that. The Election Commission is definitely open. You can even register to vote tomorrow, but it may take a little more time if you're doing that tomorrow because of the what's it, distance, and so when people have to stand at a distance and all of the other things they have to do, it takes more time. So if that's something that you can handle today, perhaps you'll want to do it today. You can also pick up an absentee ballot and vote today. The Election Commission office is located at 2978 West Grand Boulevard, which is diagonally across from the Fisher Building. I'm big on landmarks, and you can find a bigger landmark in Detroit than the Fisher Building. So for those of you who have your absentee ballot, it would be advisable that you get it over to the office, which is on West Grand Boulevard. They have employees standing outside. They have their uniforms on. They have their names on, well, not their personal names, but the name of the clerk on, and they have a basket which appear to be larger than a laundry basket. And they come over to the curb, and you put your envelope with your ballot inside into the basket. Now, I must remind you that on the outside of the envelope, there is a rectangular little box that is for your signature. So don't forget to sign the envelope in which you are placing and sealing in your ballot.
In addition to that, there's a sticker that came with your absentee ballot that you're also supposed to place on the outside of the ballot envelope as well. I know when I went to Wayne Community College Northwest Campus and I received my absentee ballot right there on the spot, they actually have a printout, a printed adhesive sticker that has your name and information on it also. So, and I asked the lady who was assisting me, because my daughter also, she received hers by mail. I got mine in person, as I said, and she said, yeah, you have to have this on along with your signature. So be aware that when you received your absentee ballot kit, that there information packet, I should say, rather, that there is an adhesive thing that will have your name on it as well. So be aware of that.
Well, we always put that on our clothes.
No, this is not the one.
Oh,
that
a
says
different one?
Yeah, this one actually has your personal information. It's not a I voted.
I voted. Say, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
okay.
a different sticker.
Oh, all right. Just checking.
Yes.
Just checking. Because also look in there and make sure you got your I voted sticker. And then you become a walking billboard.
And hopefully an influence.
Right. To remind others that it's time to vote. Time to vote. Time to vote. We have some interesting things that are going on in this election. There is one, the Wayne County Register of Deeds. And I hear from someone who did some research into this, that there are 3 family members, all with the last name of Youngblood. And these 3 family members have rotated themselves so that they actually have kept that particular elected position in the family. The father, Youngblood. The brother of the father, Youngblood. And currently the son is on the ballot. That's letting you know that they have been in control of the deeds to property for, I guess somewhere around 40 years. And there's a young man by the name of Ricardo Moore, who has said that he's the only challenger, and actually he's the only challenger that's been on the ballot for years for that position. And the first thing he says he wants to do is an audit. And that's extremely important, that he wants to do an audit. Because property around here, it seems to be, sliding in and out. And at one time, we're hearing that there was more ownership of property for African Americans in this city than any place else in the United States. So you got to wonder what's been going on. But Ricardo Moore is someone who has noticed the same thing, and now he's challenging it. And I think that's a good idea, very good idea.
One thing we have to be mindful and careful of is not letting name recognition, or just similar to where you might see just these little campaign posters as yard signs. They're stuck on businesses. They're stuck on the side of freeways. You name it. And many of the people who pass by, they're so familiar with seeing a name. Let's say Johnny Jones. If they see enough Johnny Jones, they don't know nothing about Johnny Jones. They just know they saw his poster. He must be all right. Well, he just had a better campaign budget, the way I see it. So he was able to get by on that, and people just vote based on that. That's why I always ask you to make it a point to research. I mean, take time. I mean, you look through the TV guide or whatever, what's coming on at 7:30 tonight, which is not really going to do anything for your life or affect your life as much as politics will. Of course, you can get a good laugh out of whatever it is you're looking at, but take care of your business first and then have fun later, because it won't be fun later when somebody gets in there and makes a decision. You're like, why would they do that? Well, you could have had a say-so, and that's what voting is. That's your say-so to say that I will or will not support someone. So don't let a familiar name with no track record or background that you can research any more than I would take a class from a college professor, someone who only read one book, and he's just basing his whole foundation of education on this one thing. I want someone who's very diverse in their knowledge and understanding, because then that means to me they have a better point of view. So these politicians are in a position. And then after you get them in, you got to press them to do their job. Don't let them just sit there. We've got people who been sitting in these positions too long, and they don't know how to get out of the chair no more. They've been in positions so long, so we got to get them out.
Oh, you got that right. Yes. And it's unfortunate that you also have politicians who don't groom someone to come after them either. We don't seem to have enough of that, and it's sad because we had John Conyers, who was in 40 years, and there was no one groomed to step up to the plate or to let the community know who they are, what they could do, and so that's a situation that has not worked well for us at all. And we just have people who, I'm not going to vote. I don't want to. Well, you're playing into the hands of people who don't want you to vote. And if our vote was not valuable, was not needed, was not wanted, there are others who would not try so hard to prevent us from voting. And this past Saturday, we had a gentleman, we meaning Hood Research, on our conversation telephone line. We have a meeting, for those of you who may not have been tuned in earlier. We have a meeting every Saturday. We start at 2 p.m. and we have guest speakers We have those of you who call in and you call to ask questions. You call to share information that you may have gleaned over the week. And there was an attorney, John Sales. He was from Atlanta, Georgia. He specializes in election law. And he, too, was talking about the vote, the importance of our vote. And we talked about what was going on in Florida. And here in the state of Michigan, when you have completed the sentence that was meted out to you, you have returned to you the right to vote. You have returned to you the right to vote. Now, in Florida, conversely, when you talk about preventing people from voting, as the returning citizens complete whatever sentence was meted out to them, they don't have or didn't have, and in many cases still don't have, the right to vote. Now, there was a law passed to show you how slick folks are who want to keep you from voting. When the law was passed that returning citizens had the right to vote, there were those who said, no, wait a minute, no. And they got a policy put in place that even though you may have completed the sentence, if you owe fines, fees, etc., you still don't get your right to vote until that's paid, period. He said, oh. So that's another trick that was put in the mix.
And the Supreme Court upheld that decision.
Yes. So we're hearing that there is a, I guess you'll say celebrity. I don't have the name of the celebrity, but there's a celebrity who is stepping up to the plate to pay the fees and the
I
fines.
think LeBron James.
Ah.
Yes.
Okay. So these returning citizens will have an opportunity to vote. And I'm hoping that they all will take that opportunity and go forward and do so.
I would hope more celebrities also take that up as a challenge. If you get hundreds of millions, and I'm sure the indebtedness because I believe those who will be disenfranchised may total close to 1 million people who have to make whole the people or the fines that they were accused of before they are actually able to vote. So I would hope that other celebrities, I'm glad LeBron James, and he's becoming a lot more of a vocal and political force, and because of his name and his brand and everything, he's definitely going to get attention. But there's some of you, and then we have to acknowledge there are people who are behind the scenes who do things that don't get acknowledged, like Jay-Z and Beyonce. They do a lot of things. They supported a lot of the people who were doing protests, but I like the fact that they do it quietly, because some celebrities do it just to have their name out there, to be associated with something.
Right.
Tyler Perry has done a lot of things behind the scenes quietly.
Yes.
But, you don't always have to be the face of whatever it is you're supporting. Just support it.
Right. And we're glad to hear about that, no matter if it's at the time or later on, because there are those who want to bash our celebrities for the kind of money that they're making, and well, why don't they do this? Why don't they do that? When you really don't know what they have done or what they are doing.
Absolutely.
And there's a gentleman who is deceased now, unfortunately. He was the National Batting League champion, and that was Alex Johnson, baseball player. He took care of families year round. He would make sure that even at Christmas time there were families with a lot of children who were not going to be able to receive new clothes, toys, or games, or what have you. And he would see to it that they did and that they could. And he never told anyone about it. And all he ever got from the media was being bashed. But there is a baseball player, oh geez, I think he went to jail for it. He was with the Tigers. He had some kind of scandal. I can't think of his name right now.
I know it's with an L, but I can't think of his name either.
But anyway, he was talking about Alex Johnson one day, because he was a talk show host for a little while, and he talked about him very lovingly is not the word I want to use, but he knew the kind of person Alex Johnson was, and he knew the kind of effort he gave on the field. All of the time he gave more than 100%. But it was sad because early on he would give interviews and the reporter would just twist what he said. So whatever he said, it was just, he said, wait, this is crazy. So he stopped giving interviews, and they started just trying to denigrate him. And it was sad that it was like that, but this player who had played with him talked about how precise he was in his calculations on the field and when he played, and what good records he had because he was an excellent baseball player.
There's an art to everything, and I do have to. Oh, our wonderful engineer Tim has just given me the name. His name was Ron LaFleur.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. Talked about him. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was going to Google it, but thank you, Tim. And yeah, he did do time. But, you know, the thing is when you mentioned a reporter, I was listening to a talk show within the last couple of weeks, and I came to understand not only visual in front of the camera reporters, but also those who do work for print media. And there's a difference between a reporter, let's just say in front of the camera, and a journalist who actually delves into something, just like there's a difference between one who writes a report for a newspaper and one who's a columnist who's free to express their own views. Mm-hmm. So when you have a reporter, a lot of times they have to follow the guidelines or the philosophy of whatever paper it is they're working. So if they're with New York Times, the editors, so you have to, whether it's New York Times, Washington Post, Fox News, etc., you have to follow the philosophy of the station. Even if your views are contrary, they're not really allowed because you have to keep everything within the boundaries of what the news station wants to project. So that's why I'm sure Alex didn't have the same favorable reports because, we don't want to shine a light on his good aspects. Let's find some dirt on him because dirt does sell. People, I mean, I'm guilty of it too. You see, sensationalism is what they would call it in journalism. You find a sensational story, or as they say, if it bleeds, it leads. You look for that type of drama as opposed to just having very factual, honest reviews of whatever it is that you're researching and reporting on.
Well, his family was very athletic, I guess I could say. He had two brothers, and the older brother came up during a time. He was good in sports, but there were not as many opportunities for African Americans during his time. Alex came along, and he did receive the opportunity to do well. Then his brother Ron came along, and Ron Johnson was a a very good football player, and the sort of family was really blessed to have that athletic ability. And you know, I don't know what year this happened, but they just kind of eased things out as you go along. And there was something called Sandlot teams, and scouts would go to Sandlot teams, as well as to other, places, colleges, high schools, etc., to look for new talent. But as these Sandlot teams were moved out of the country, you start to notice that there are fewer and fewer African Americans who are getting the opportunities. And it reminded me of how the public school ended up losing many of the very beneficial classes in the curriculum that they had. And, then you start to think, well, wow, when the minister was recruiting for Henry Ford, he recruited many of the African Americans down south to come north to work in the factories. And I'm told they made $5 a day. And during that time, that was a very good salary. And of course, the cost of living was much less as well. And now I hear that you still get jobs in the factory, but the starting pay is less. And so I just started to wonder, well, are they trying to undermine the black community? Because here, and just talking about this area now, they had so many African Americans who owned their own home. Now I'm hearing we have a lot of renters. So is it because of the starting salaries in these various jobs? And then you think about the group that's protesting. $15 an hour, they say. $15 an hour, living wage. Well, when did they start asking for $15 an hour? And how long would it take to get to $15 an hour? Isn't it 2031 or some future date? By the time they get to $15 an hour, the cost of living will have increased so that the $15 an hour at that point still would not be a living wage.
I want to address something you said a moment ago about the diminishing or elimination of sandlot baseball.
Yes.
I have a statistic I happen to pick up from the percentage of black players in various sports leagues. And in Major League Baseball now, the percentage of black athletes is 8.4%.
And it went from what to 8.4?
Well, the fact that, like you say, now they don't have those.
Yes.
A lot of the players are now coming from Hispanic countries, whether it's Cuba, Dominican Republic, and other parts of the world. So that has diminished the number of black players from whatever it may have been.
Oh, okay.
Now, fortunately, as I look at this graph, there's almost 75% of the players in the NBA are black, so they wield a lot of power. In the WNBA, which is the Female Basketball Association, there's 67% are black, and in the NFL, 59% of the players are black. And my point in bringing that up in association with the Sandlot thing is that we do have areas outside of baseball, and I might as well mention in the Major League Soccer, 23% of the players are black. But in those other categories, well over 50%, NFL, WNBA, and NBA are black. So that's a lot of power to wield. And I do know that the power that they have, if they say let's just walk off, they could change the whole dynamics of sports. Now, to your point about the $15 an hour and certainly that was a living wage. But when you stretch it out and say, well, we're going to implement it, gradually over the next 5, 10 years or something like that, the cost of living, the rate of inflation, et cetera, have diminished that. So you're still back to maybe square one if you're not below square one. And we can't be naive. Sometimes we do certain things, but we can't be naive. We know that this is all intentional. This is intentional in terms of the corporations that because the CEO doesn't need $20-30 million a year while his employee may be making $20,000 a year. That's ridiculous. I mean, he doesn't even make all the decisions. He's got a board of directors and other people who are subordinate to him who make healthy salaries as well, no doubt. But he doesn't make any decisions. He just makes the money. And he's a figurehead for where the people, the blue-collar people on the ground who are sweating, injuring themselves, working overtime, really sacrificing their bodies as well as their relationships to family and health to make sure that the corporation is able to function. And out of desperation of a job, people will take those jobs. They will gripe, but they will take the job. So this is orchestrated. This is not something that's just happening in a vacuum. This is something that has actually been by design.
Well, think about this. There are prisons that are privately owned. And we're told that within those contracts, it says that we have to have 1,000 beds guaranteed. The state pays the owners of these privately owned prisons. So now, if things are orchestrated, as we talked about, so that it makes it increasingly difficult for the young people in the community to live sufficiently, I guess we'd say, and they begin to get involved in side hustles, if you will, the kind of side hustles that lead them on to being arrested. And we do know that the police arrest, charge, give tickets, and they give a person a very difficult time through the way that policing is organized. And the elimination of residency made it worse because you have the good old boys coming from Holly, Michigan, or Chelsea, Michigan, and some of the other areas around town. I'm hearing that some of them live 50, 60 miles away. That's a long way to have to come to work, especially if there's some kind of emergency that comes up. And the fight to eliminate residency, unfortunately, was successful. And a lot of that had other impactful ways to cause the quality of life to diminish. So I just wonder if a lot of that has to do with building the other industry, the prison industry. What do you think?
Well, we know that many of the private correctional institutions and prisons are for profit. That's what they were put in, and they did strike a deal with different communities to make sure that those beds, because they can't make money if they don't have people in the prisons.
Right.
And again, it's business. It's been orchestrated. There is one station that, not one station, one state that has set up something that said that they will eliminate. I'm not sure what state it was because I come into contact with too much information to be able, through gleaning, it takes a while to remember everything. But there's one state said they are totally going to eliminate for-profit prisons. But now that we're at the top of the hour, we will take our station ID break.
All right.
And we will ask you to join us on the other side.
All right. And we'll be back momentarily.
You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit.
Hi, this is Theo Broughton, president of Barton McFarland Neighborhood Association. Someone asked me, what is a census? A census is a project put on by the federal government to determine the number of people living in any particular municipality. You count, we count, and it's time for us to be counted so that we can receive the allocation of federal tax dollars that we have sent to Washington, D.C. over the past 10 years. Those tax dollars are to be used for education, for health, and perhaps there will be some money even for us to fix the damn roads. If you have not found your mailer, please know that you can call the Federal Census Bureau at 1-844-330-2020. Again, that's 1-844-330-2020 for all of the help you will need. Peace.
This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman. I am here to address all of your complaints and concerns. If you need assistance regarding city services, please contact my office at 313-224-6000 or contact us via email at ombudsman@detroitmi.gov. This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman.
I've always been a runner, but I've never run from anything, and neither has my city.
Do you want to be a Detroit police officer?
Sir, yes, sir! Up! Amen!
It's something special to protect the people closest to you, the ones you've known all your life, your neighbors, your friends. I was born in this city, and I'm not going anywhere. This is my home. That's why I wear the shield.
You're watching Detroit's own WHPR TV. Detroit Live.
This is Theo Broughton from Feedback. You can watch me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at WHPR TV Now app. Download our free app at WHPR TV Now.
Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am Thabiti Mpinda,
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback.
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV. Watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback. And we are back. Thank you so much for staying tuned to Feedback, a positive image production by Hood Research. I want to once again let you know that this coming Saturday at 2 o'clock, we're going to do a telephone conference, and we'd like you to join us. We have guests who come on, like this past Saturday. We had attorney John Sales from Atlanta, Georgia, who was on with us. And we want you to join us as well. And the BD has already encouraged you to have pen and paper handy, so now's another time to use it. The numbers for the meeting on Saturdays, and this is every Saturday, you dial 1 and area code 978, and the telephone number is 990-5000. When it answers, you put in the access code, which is 338729, and you press the pound key, The little tic-tac-toe sign on your telephone? Yeah, some people call it a hashtag, some people call it a pound key, but whichever, press that, and you'll hear us talking. And you can join, just introduce yourself and join us. But it's been a very fruitful decision for us to start having regular meetings every Saturday at 2 p.m. And we're on from 2 p.m. to about 6 p.m. And we have a variety of issues and guests and speakers, and we've had candidates to come on, and they've given their platforms, after which those who are tuned in have an opportunity to ask their own questions. We do not have any set-up calls. Those who tune in just have an opportunity to ask their questions and to help them make decisions on who they want to cast their vote for. Yeah. You know, the BDU was saying earlier that it seemed that our elected officials should groom someone to take over, and it on the judicial area, judges cannot run for office when they get to be 70 years old. We have areas where they can be appointed, where they can live to the end of their life, unless they choose to leave the bench. And those are the district courts and the Supreme Court. Other than that, here, when you're 70 years old, you can't run. Now, if a person is 69 and they run and win, they can serve that term, but that would be their only term. And it's not like that in other offices. Now, with the state offices for governor, House, and Senate, you have years. The House of Representatives, for me, it's 3 2-year terms. Wait, not yeah, 3 2-year terms, and for the Senate in the state, it's 2 3-year terms. Anyway, it's all of the numbers and districts and things are a lot to keep up with. But those are the ways in which the various offices are lined up and set up. And it's interesting because, as you have said early on, name recognition keeps some people in office only because the voters, the majority of the voters, are not watching the record. For instance, with the Wayne County Commissioners, you can stay and run again, and we have commissioners in their 80s, and some don't even go to the meeting because they have a policy that says you can send your employee in to vote for you. It's called a proxy vote. So what do? Stay at home and just collect a check? Things that make you go,
And the proxy doesn't mind because they have a job.
Hey, you got that right. And they're not going to say a word. They just go in.
Now, you mentioned grooming. That's where the proxy should actually be the one, particularly since they're doing most of the work, be the person that's groomed for that position.
Mm-hmm.
However, the person in that position looks at it almost as if it were a lifetime appointment.
Mm-hmm.
They're not thinking about going anywhere. Now, as we know with, God rest his soul, Judge George Crockett, he was one who would look at people who were coming up under him, who worked within his judgeship, who would see that it was necessary. I put it like this: he could see potential and say, this is a person that I should help to shape and mold into an individual, because I can see that light in their eyes, that passion in their heart that makes them want to go ahead and take on the realms. You can see the ambition within them. We don't have that now with many of the people who hold positions. They got there, they've gotten comfortable, as I say, they've gotten so used to sitting in a seat of authority, whatever that may be, they don't know how to get out of that seat, nor do they prepare someone to fill that role, fill their shoes, so to speak. So we've got a problem with people who have, and this is the fault of the electorate as well. I always have to say the electorate has the bottom line. If you don't press a particular individual, I don't care if it's a council person, state rep, state senator, national rep, if you don't press them, they're not going to do anything. It's just like if you don't press your child to clean the room, why should they just want to just say, well, I guess I'll clean the room? Unless it's in their nature to want to do it, they're not going to do it. Most people, I think even one of, if it wasn't John Lewis, it would have been, I think it goes back even further. Frederick Douglass says something, power never concedes anything without pressure. I'm not quoting, but I'm paraphrasing because I'm not sure the exact quote, but it's just that power will never concede without pressure to make it change, because everybody becomes, it's like the status quo at that point.
Oh, I agree with that. And you know, speaking about the electorate, in the 9th district for state representatives, we have a woman who appears to be acting as Andy Dillon. Andy Dillon wanted to get elected in Redford, and he was a Republican, or is a Republican, and he ran for office, and the majority of the voters in Redford apparently are Democrats. They didn't vote for him. So he decided one day, well, I'm going to tell them I'm a Democrat. And he did. And they voted for him. Craziest thing you ever heard. And when Snyder became governor, he said, hey, Andy, you don't have to stay down there in Redford. Come on up here with me. I'll make you treasurer of the state of Michigan. Craziest thing you ever heard. Now, in the 9th district for state representative, we have a female who acts like a Republican, but she says she's a Democrat. And she went to Washington, D.C., claimed that she had the virus and took hydroxychloroquine. She was sitting on TV right next to the president, Donald Trump. And she says, I've got to tell my truth. I got to give credit where credit is due. And this hydroxychloroquine is what saved me. And I worked through. I'm like, what?
Her initials are KW.
Karen Whitson, I'll say it. Listen, Donald Trump turned to her and he says, I can't see you voting for Sleepy Joe. And I'm like, she must have lost her mind.
She's an opportunist.
Oh, that's a good explanation. But a couple things. One, if you claim you're a Democrat, you don't do that. You just don't do that. Number two, I've not read about, heard about, met anybody who has worked through having the coronavirus. That's how bad the side effects are. But anyway, there is a gentleman, Mark Cummings, who has a lot of energy and a lot of concern for the districts, and I think he would be a much better candidate for the 9th district. And seeing as how not only has she seemed to follow in Andy Dillon's footsteps, there's another person by the name of John James, a black man who sounds like he has a good record. He says that he, which may have been his father, have made 3 millionaires in Detroit. Okay, that's a good thing. But Mayor Coleman Alexander Young made 24 millionaires. So if you want to brag about something, brag about that. and that's covered in the book, Coleman Young's book. Now, this man does not say anywhere that he's Republican. He is in this community, and he wants you to vote for him because he's black. Now, the charge that we have as a nation is to keep the Congress divided. The House is majority Democrats. The Senate has majority Republicans. There are 400 bills, last time I checked, on the desk of the head of the Republican Party, who's Mitch McConnell. Two things. If we concentrate on getting 4 Republicans out of office and replace them, then the Republican Party will no longer have control, and the Congress will not be divided.
At this point, according to some of the political shows I saw this past weekend, there are 6 to 7. I know Ms. Mikowski, I think she's somewhere in the New England states, but there are 6 or 7 who are actually vulnerable to losing their positions in the Senate as Republicans. So let us only hope that, even like you say, all we need is 4, but let's just get the 6 or 7. You know, we get the 4 if we don't get the 6 or 7. Get them out of there. Now, Mitch McConnell, he's kind of like, he's got an edge over his competitor, but and then Kentucky is just one of them kind of states, bluegrass state.
Mitch McConnell is in Kentucky.
Yeah, so we have to accept the fact that maybe, you know, the diehards will give him. But we just, but after what happened to Breonna Taylor in Kentucky, then hopefully we can galvanize more people. Although that was Louisville, one of their main, if not their major city. Maybe that will, and they haven't given justice to Breonna Taylor either. Hopefully that will get more of the electorate out to ditch Mitch. That's why I put it like that.
Oh, now that's a good phrase. Do you know, ditch Mitch? Wow. I had this message on my phone that said dump Trump. So those two kind of go together. Yeah. But, you know, we need to use our telephone in addition to calling in to the meeting that Hood Research is having this Saturday at 2 o'clock to call any friends or relatives that we have in Kentucky and just encourage them, please vote, please. And we want Mitch McConnell's competitor, she happens to be a woman, and very qualified, I'm hearing. But just encourage them. Look, we need this. We need this because of the fact that he is in charge of the Senate. He just makes it very punitive to notice what does not get brought up before the Senate, and the kinds of things he does. Very hateful, very hateful. So
I've done the same thing in terms of my family in South Carolina, letting them know that Senator Lindsey Graham needs to go, and there's a brother who's running against him. I'll bring that name up again, well, for those who will be viewing in South Carolina, but I definitely let my Facebook family in South Carolina know, and that includes you, Omawale, that we want to get Lindsey Graham out, although he's been a little bit quiet lately as opposed to Mitch McConnell. But, of course, Mitch McConnell is the figurehead, being the majority leader. And Lindsey Graham has just kind of played the background. Matter of fact, a lot of Trump Republican supporters are playing the background now because they realize the man is off the rails, and they don't want to have that association with him because their jobs are up for grabs, and so they feel vulnerable. But yes, Theo said, if you have family or friends in Kentucky, I'm going to make it a point to use Breonna Taylor, because this is a very open case, to say if you believe in justice for Breonna Taylor, Mitch McConnell's not saying anything about it. You need to get your people in Kentucky to get out and
vote him out. Yes. Oh boy, it's a very difficult task to encourage some people to vote and let them know why they should vote. And they know there's so many things going wrong, but they don't seem to put the two together. Now, Mark Cummings is someone who has gone through the 9th State Rep District and just shared a lot of that information, so that he's teaching as he's going along. And as this guy who's running for the state, United States, I should say, Senate, John James, wants you to vote for him because he's black. And that's someone who has stated that he supports Donald Trump 1,000%. He wants you to vote for him because of that. He wants to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, which is also called Obamacare. A black man.
Well, you know, white politicians want white constituents to vote for them because they're white. So, I mean, and I'm sure a Mexican or Hispanic candidate wants you to vote for them, particularly in their community, because they're Hispanic. And then
true.
Again, that's opportunism.
Yes, because we have a different circumstance. The black community has had to fight ever since they were brought to these shores. They did not come here looking for an opportunity to improve. They did not come here looking for an opportunity to make their lives better. The complaint about the Mexicans coming here to do the farming, picking oranges, etc., is that the complaint is not against them, it's against others, and sometimes they throw in black people. Oh, they're just lazy, they don't want to do their job. That's not the issue at all. The issue is when the Mexicans come here and do those jobs, if it is, and most times it is, a lower pay scale, the comparison between the Mexican money, a currency, is definitely multiplied when they get paid American currency. They tell me that if a Mexican come here and makes, say, $5,000 for the length of time that he or she is here, they can go back home and live like a king or queen. Now, if a black person or a white person, for that matter, takes the same job and makes $5,000, how long is that going to run for the year? You see. So the cost of living for someone who is not coming into this country to work for a corporation is a big difference. So when there's a complaint about our people, it's just propaganda. But when a black person wants you to vote for him just because he's black, so that he can move up his lot in life, it's a different story.
I'll just say this in my own, because we all have, our own distinct opinions. I will say this, that, well, number one, he's already a millionaire. Him and his old man's a millionaire, and they made other people millionaires. So a lot of times, once they made it, their allegiance, their loyalty or whatever to the communities that they rose from is not there. They have achieved what they wanted to achieve, and as far as looking back, reaching back, or giving back, it's just not happening. And I understand that. I mean, it's not me. You, I, and some people I mentioned off there,
right.
We have an idealistic view about the way things should be. But we must also, and I'm saying this to the audience, we not only should we have an idealistic view, because that is something to strive for, but we should have a realistic view also, because we know realistically the division that we have, this utopian thought about can't we all get along, is just not going to happen. This is a real world. there are extremes, a dichotomy. On one side you got good, the other side you got evil, and then in between you got everything else, and it just depends on which side of that line what you're tending towards. So even though he's a black candidate, and he may want to use his skin tone, and again, I've always asked everybody, just research the person. You know, you don't go by words. Words don't mean nothing. A woman might tell a man she loves him. He may tell her he loves her. Neither one of them are telling the truth. So don't go by words. Go by actions. What have you done in the past? Were you a criminal? Were you an abuser? What's the deal? So we can't go by just, because they can always dress you up. Is what they call it, put lipstick on a pig and try to make it look good.
It's still a pig.
Okay. We do have a caller.
Well, they have the assimilation disease, it sounds.
Okay. We're down to our last 4 minutes.
go
I
ahead.
want to welcome you to the program. Would you give us your name and how you're viewing us, please?
Yes, Grand Rising family. This is Malik calling.
Thank you for calling.
Yes, ma'am. I know you only got a couple minutes.
Yeah.
If I could,
Sure.
I'd like to make 2 quick announcements.
Okay.
This Friday at 1 p.m., we'll be meeting up on DeQuinder in Nevada to leafletize next to the reward billboard.
Okay.
That's on the corner there about Stephen Radcliffe, a young 27-year-old man, a father who was ran over just going to the store to get some cigarettes. Black folks who are ran over, their lives matter too. Saturday at 5 p.m., we're going to be on Coventry between Lance and Emory. This is about Tamala Nikki Wells, missing mother of 2 children, been missing now 8 years. Thursday, August 6th, makes 8 years, and then Sunday, we're going to 19703 Appleton, which is her home where one of her children still resides. That's also at 5 p.m. Prayer, brief rally, distribution of the Crime Stoppers reward flyers. All are invited. If you can't march, you can't walk up the steps, just stand with us, pray with us, follow in the car, and honk your horn and yell out, stop the killing and increase the peace. Black missing lives matter.
Right.
All black lives matter. Whether if the killers is the police or if the killers are civilians who look just like you and I. All black lives matter all the time and for real. And thank you for allowing me to get my number, the messages out.
Yeah, phone number if someone needs some additional information, okay?
Yes,
The
ma'am.
phone number.
313-646-3375. 313-646-3375.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for the
Okay, you
announcement.
two be blessed now.
All right.
Thank you, brother.
Be safe.
Okay.
Wow. No, tomorrow is election day. Make sure if you need an absentee ballot that you go by the election commission and get one. Please do not mail your ballot today. Physically take it to the election commission, which is on West Grand Boulevard. The address, I believe, is 2978 West Grand Boulevard, and it is diagonally across from the Fisher Building, the largest, what was I saying? Landmark, the largest landmark. And drop it off. You don't even have to get out of your car. They have their employees, and they are prominently displaying who they are and why they are standing outside of the election commission. I want you to know, lastly, it's not necessary for you to know everything. What is necessary is for you to know how to find what you need when you need it. We at Hood Research seek out as much as we can to share with you, encourage you to share with us, to help us all make better informed decisions. And follow us on Twitter. That's Hood Research. Thabiti.
If you want to be nothing, do nothing. But the only problem with doing nothing is you never know when you finish. Drop your ballots off at the clerk's office personally.
All right. And the number for Hood Research is area code 248-234-2371. Again, that's area code 248-234-2371. And tune in again next Monday.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton.
And I am Thabiti Mpinda.
Inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback,
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
And take us along with you. Feedback.